Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. You know me, it's your man, Dan. So today, I don't know, I just wanted to chat a little bit, if you'll indulge me. So if you guys have followed me for a little bit, or you kind of know what the deal is around here, industrial maintenance, robotics, automation, fixing stuff, doing stuff, what have you. If you're new, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. Well, I touched on the words automation and robotics. Well, in today's industrial environment, that can kind of be a touchy thing, with unions and people, and, everybody kind of gets upset, especially with this like a longshoreman strike thing that just happened. And everybody's freaking out about automation and robotics replacing people. I feel like automation gets a really bad stigma to it. And what I mean by that isn't necessarily, I don't know, this is a touchy topic, but a lot of people get upset whenever they hear the word automation or robotics because they automatically think that a machine is going to replace your job. That's kind of correct, but not really, and not doesn't necessarily have to be. This is one of those things like it's easy to get upset if you're not, dare I say, educated. That's not meant to come off like that. This isn't meant to be poking at anybody. It's more or less just like I don't know, I want to share my viewpoint and perhaps like maybe enhance your understanding on the subject. So a lot of industrial manufacturing involves automation, and it's more and more every day. And it's not a bad thing, honestly. I mean, in order to bring manufacturing back to its full power back to the States, this is a necessary thing. I mean, I've been involved in industrial manufacturing the majority of my adult life. And I've seen this like starting to come in, and now it's doing its thing. It's getting bigger and bigger all the time. In order for us as Americans to compete with overseas and all of their stuff, we have to be able to do our stuff faster and cheaper here. And let's be honest, people are expensive, and rightfully so. I mean, you're a human, you're putting in your time, you're wearing down your body, you're doing things, and you want to be fairly compensated for your time. I totally get that. But that's where the robotics and automation thing come in. I mean, automation is just always there. For the majority of the time, it usually works, but there's a caveat to that, which we'll get there. I mean, you just hit the go button and it goes. Robots don't care about holidays. Robots don't get sick. They don't leave early. They don't show up late. It's just in order for us to keep up in the game and bring all this stuff back to America and make us fair competitors, we need to really embrace this kind of manufacturing. So what I'm trying to get at here, as far as like the replacing people thing that everyone's so afraid about, yes, to a certain point, machines, robots, and automation do replace certain repetitive and menial tasks. I mean, there are some crazy robotics and automation cells. Trust me, because that's now what I do. On the other side of the fence. A customer will approach us with some complex problem and like, hey, we want a way to automate this with machines. So it's like a term we call lights out manufacturing, which quite literally you can turn the lights off, leave, and the thing just runs because there's no people involved. It's just a machine tending itself. Now, look at the more technical side of this. Now, obviously, I kind of have a biased opinion on this because I'm kind of in that field and have been for a while. But there are millions more like me. You don't necessarily have to be an engineer or a robotics person or a computer programmer or anything. All you need to do, learn how to use one of these, and you will be invaluable to any manufacturing employer, anything. Honestly, I mean, like I said, this may be a little bit biased because I have been a technician and an engineer and a mechanic, and like I've always been fixing stuff as long as I knew that there was stuff to be fixed. And that is like a steadfast rule that will exist for all eternity of mankind. I don't care what kind of robotics, what kind of automation, what kind of advancements we make in industrial America. Fixing stuff will always be there. And this is a skilled trade. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go to college. You could like go to Votech in high school, or heck, just learn from your dad or your uncle how to use a multimeter, how to use a drill, how to tap holes in steel, how to, do like helicoils or run a lathe or a drill press. Or if you can fix stuff, you are invaluable. And the better you get at it, the longer you do it, the more experience you have, you expand your capabilities as a fix-it person. I'm telling you, man. I mean, yes, robots have come a long way since they kind of came out in the scene in the early 80s. Like, it was still very raw at that point, and we've definitely refined it and it's gotten way better. But we are not to the point where robots are fixing robots. Or, I mean, yes, robots can kind of program a little bit, but if you're familiar with programming and like the language and the state structure of how things work, whenever software writes software, it is bad. Bad, bad. Like, it's muddy. Yes, it works, but it is horrifically inefficient, and it's difficult for us to read because, okay, everyone's heard of this AI stuff. Yes, it exists. It's out there, but it is not there. I'm sorry. A computer does not think like we do. We can anticipate issues. We have experience to lean on. Like, oh, I remember down at the plant 15 years ago, something similar to this happened. And it's like whenever you're programming a robot or writing a new routine or something, you can follow on your experience and anticipate issues and try to work around that. Robotics and computers do not do that. I mean, they may at some point, but tell me, brother, it's not happening now. I have experienced this where software tries to write its own software, and yes, at its core, it works. But dude, is it bad? Hey, like, if I were to go in there and write that same program that software just wrote, it would be an eighth of the length. It would make more sense. It would be in a specific, man, I can't even talk today, a specific or particular flow and how things work. And it's just, I know I'm kind of ranting here, but what I mean here, guys, is I could rant all day about this. Like, honestly, we could have like a live thing where you guys chime in opinions. And I don't know, I like-minded people when you get on a particular category. I have the gift of gab. I could jab all day about industrial stuff and engines and robots and just tools and whatnot. But tools, okay. So, like I mentioned, this may be a tad one-sided because I have been a mechanic, sparky engineer I've just always loved fixing stuff. You learn how to use these things, and a multimeter being my number one opinion tool. You learn how to use a multimeter, learn all of its functions, learn all of its capabilities, and learn to trust this thing. I was told that a long time ago whenever I was an apprentice. I would say probably, heck, I don't know, 16 years old maybe. I worked under a journeyman electrician. And he told me one of the very first things whenever I was learning how to do all this crap, he's like, get a good meter. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but it's worth it. Get a good meter, learn how to use it, and trust what it says. This thing is smarter than you. Now, that could be, a thing is only as smart as you make it. Now, I mean by that, like, you have to know the operation and the procedure that you're doing so you get the correct result. This thing is only as correct as you are, if that makes any sense. Like, if you're trying to check continuity for a fuse to see if it's good or bad, but you have this thing set to AC volts because you're just ignorant and you don't know how to use this device, that's on you. So you're going to get a incorrect answer because you gave it an incorrect input. I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but once you learn how to use it and use it properly, trust what this thing says because it's smarter than you. I mean, like, you or I can't just look at a fuse and know if it's good or bad. Well, I mean, maybe one of those old timey glass fuses, you can see if it's actually blown in there. But either way, you learn how to use one of these things. Use one properly, use it well, use it efficiently, and you will never, ever, ever be without a job. You won't have to be concerned about automation in manufacturing and robotics and all stuff like that, because the more prominent automation and robotics become in industrial manufacturing, the more valuable you will be. The people that can fix this stuff, the people that can program this stuff, the people that can interface this stuff using servers and Wi-Fi and Ethernet to get manufacturing data and being able to diagnose things like this. Yeah, I cannot tell you how valuable people like that are, because it is an incredibly shrinking population. Just getting hands dirty people, like a good industrial maintenance person is worth their weight in gold, because maintenance is quite literally everything. And man, when I say everything, I mean bloody everything. If you have any experience whatsoever in maintenance of any kind, I don't care where you do maintenance at, whether it's a farm, you do it personally, or like you work at I don't know, a deli, or like a grocery store, or like pharmaceuticals, or a concrete plant, or whatever. Just name an industry and put maintenance after it. Those people are so bloody valuable, because maintenance isn't just whatever you're doing at that job. Like, it encompasses freaking everything. I can't tell you how much stuff I've gotten into over the years that I never thought was in my scope of that job. I mean, if you're a good maintenance guy and a facility is counting on you to keep that place up and running, one day you might be a carpenter framing walls for the new break room or something. Or the next day you might be a plumber because the hot water tank in the shop went bad and you need a new one because it's spewing water everywhere. The next day you might be doing hydraulic diagnosis because one of the machines went bad. Now a pilot operated valve isn't shuttling correctly. And then the next day you might be an electrical engineer because the HMI went out on a machine and now you need to debug that and figure out why. And the next day you might be coding a machine because you just fixed the HMI and now you need to set up the new one. And then the next day you might be a plumber again because the toilet in the bathroom backed up. And then the next day you're cutting concrete because you're adding on to the building or something. It's just maintenance people. Maintenance people are what makes this world go around. Now, I know I'm long-winded, but you can tell I'm passionate about this subject because it's awesome stuff. So automation and robotics. If you can fix stuff, you will never, ever, ever be replaced by a robot or automation, because they cannot fix themselves. I mean, maybe one day, like whenever Skynet takes over and the Terminator's back and everything, but let's be honest, we are a long, long way from that. I mean, I don't know any 6-axis robot that can walk its own little butt up to another 6-axis robot and talk to the third shift supervisor and like, oh, hey, well, Jimmy put a hammer in the mold last night and now it's all smashed up and broke and whatever, and I need you to get in there and fix it. And then the robot goes in, looks around and thinks about it and like, oh, I remember when this happened in '82. I just took a little piece of brass and smashed it in there. And see what I'm getting at? It's not feasible for robots to do what we do. So, yeah, I don't know that. Yeah. So, guys, what I'm getting at, I know I sound like a parakeet here. I wouldn't necessarily be afraid of this new incoming automation and technology and robotics in American manufacturing, because it is nothing but good stuff for us. The better it gets, the faster it gets, the more affordable, dare I say, cheaper our goods could potentially be. I mean, yeah, we're not really seeing that now because everything's through the freaking roof. I mean, interest rates on mortgages are 15%, for goodness sake. The bottom has to fall out of this thing. Anyway, we can rant about that forever too, trust me. But what I'm getting at is that maintenance people are irreplaceable. You can diagnose, you can debug, you can program, you can just do everything. And automation doesn't do that. So I don't know. It's just if you have the ambition and the want and the drive to be better, it's learning how to use these things. It's not insanely complicated. I mean, community colleges, online courses, Votech or Uncle Bob, a lot of places, yeah, it's easier to get like an industrial job if you have a background in an education and yada yada yada. But a lot of these small town places, where a lot of people start at, they're just like, yeah, I'm good with my hands. I can fix stuff, just let me take a swing at it. I know that story isn't true for everywhere. Like if you go and like apply at like Lockheed Martin or General Electric or something, they're probably going to want a little more than just I know how to do stuff. But still, I mean, this is an incredible career path that is endlessly rewarding if you make it that way. So, yeah, there's there is a slim chance that we will ever see in our lifetime where a robot and or automation can do what we do. Yes, they do repetitive and menial tasks, but they still need us. Yeah, it's just it's rough, the the bad rap that automation gets because there is so much good about it, and it opens up doors to a whole new industry that wasn't around before, because traditionally maintenance guys were just turning wrenches and fixing hydraulics and yada yada yada, and that was about it, keeping a 50-year-old press running and just let it run. But now we have the introduction of all of this technology and automation and robotics and stuff like that, and coding and server data and like Modbus, TCP stuff, Ethernet and PoE, and it's a whole new category of maintenance person that did not used to be there. So in the event that you're already in this line of work, now you can adapt and elevate yourself, and it just makes you more valuable, because companies invest hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in all these robotics and automation cells and everything. Someone that can accurately diagnose, appropriately fix, and maintain these things, dude, you are worth your weight in gold. I'm telling you, like, this is an extremely lucrative career should you choose to go down that path. So, guys, I know I've been rambling a lot, and it's kind of hard to get my thoughts in line on this one, but I feel like you kind of got what I'm getting at here. There is nothing, and yeah, let me start that over again. We are in America. I know there may be a lot of people watching this that aren't, but this is the land of opportunity. You can do whatever and be whatever you want to be. There is nothing stopping you from being better than you are today. That's the coolest part about this place, is that the only limiting factor is you. You want to get better and educate yourself in a specific field. Like, I don't care what you do, just you better yourself. That's the natural progression of life. Like, you kind of choose a path and you go for it, or even if you have several or whatever. But the whole point is that you pick something you enjoy doing and you get better at it. And the better you get, the more you get out of it. And I mean, not even just like a personally satisfaction wise, but you are worth more to employers. Like, if you're good at doing something, people will compensate you for doing it. And that's kind of like how life works. The whole point is that eventually you want to like do less for more. You know what I mean? And it's, that's kind of the whole goal. You just want to have that experience backlog and knowledge and everything. And like, yeah, I can do stuff like that, and somebody is looking for someone that can do stuff like that. So it's yeah, it's just freaking awesome if you ask me. But yeah, guys, like I mentioned, it's clear that I like this topic. I just don't really know how to put my thoughts together yet. It's still a little early, but I feel like I'm getting across what I want to get across. If you guys are at all interested in having like a live stream about this, dude, I'm totally down. Like I mentioned, I could talk about this for freaking ever. And I think it's an interesting topic, and it's kind of like a hot topic right now. But I don't know. I would genuinely not be concerned about this robotics and automation surge that we are seeing right now, because it's only good things. Like I mentioned, it opens doors to a lot of stuff that didn't exist before. And is it taking away some jobs? Yes. Unfortunately, yes. But they are generally like lower jobs. I mean, I don't mean that to sound degrading or insensitive, but the whole point of robotics and automation is to get rid of menial and repetitive tasks, like taking a box and putting it on a belt or something. It's, now we have a robot that does that, and you pay for that robot once, and that's it. But now that we have that robot, you now need someone to fix it. You need someone to program it. You need someone to preventative maintenance it. You need someone to program it. You need someone to code it. You need someone to design and build end of arm tooling. You need someone to integrate that robot with the machine or the process that it is doing. So is it replacing some? Yes. Is it adding some more high level, like really needed work? Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it's you can improve yourself. If you want to get better, get better. It's yeah, this is hard to say this without sounding mean, but I feel like you guys know where I'm coming from. So please do, if you're interested in this topic or whatever, go ahead, drop down in the comments and let me know your feelings, concerns, contributions, whatever. But I feel like this is an intriguing topic, and it's definitely not going away. I mean, regardless of our feelings, the industrial freight train that is America is not going to slow down just because some people don't like what's happening. Yeah. So this is kind of one of those get on the train or miss it kind of deals. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But if you can kind of see the trend and get in front of it and get trained up and get in this field, and if you're already in this field and you just need a little touch ups in a couple categories, I'm telling you, man, people will pay handsomely to get the stuff in your noggin on that pendant for that robot. It is really cool stuff. So if nothing else, I hope this gives you a little food for thought. So like I mentioned, drop down in the comments. Let me know what you want to do, and we will talk to you next time.